Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is the show we're going to discuss the tabletop hobby world. Welcome to show 80, by the way. I mean, we've been here 80 episodes. As always, I'm joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
Oh man, it's been a hard week, but I'm happy to say I'm still here. Been a been a long, tough week.
Uh, well,
But
I mean, tough week in the hobbying or tough week in general?
in general, but hobby too, hobby too. I haven't I haven't gotten anything that I wanted to get painted. I haven't gotten any painting done. That was kind of rough. I'm not painting right now.
What have you done this week for hobbying?
Well, I did get in my second round for Guild Ball, which was a good time. So I played my good buddy Chad with his butchers. Uh, he's a really humble guy, and he's really good. So I give him good odds to win this whole thing. Uh, I kept it close though. The final score was 12-10. So it was right there. It was kind of down to whoever got the last takeout. And man, I got dice screwed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that most people, when they say that they're getting screwed over by their dice, are really just looking at the negatives. But I would roll 7 dice and couldn't find a single 4-up.
Ooh.
And that happened a lot. To the point where even my buddy Chad was just kind of sitting there shaking his head like, I'm really sorry, dude. And likewise, he couldn't miss anything. So with all that being said, I'm pretty happy to have kept it to where it was. So
Yeah, I mean that does sound like it's a minor loss, not a major one.
yeah, when you keep it that close, at least it doesn't feel like a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of frustrating when you walk away and you're like, I don't know anything I could have done different. So because there's a lot of times when you look back at the game, you're like, if I would have done this instead of that, or picked this instead of that, it would have been different. But so it's like, I played it as hard and as well as I could, and it just didn't get any better.
So, who did you bring to the table?
I brought my Masons. So my setup this time was I kept Honor as my captain because I've been liking her. And then I had Mallet and Chisel and Flint. And then I brought in one of the Union players, Decimay. So I brought her in because she allows me to do an extra movement at the end of a turn.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so if I pair that up with what Honor can do, she can give a player 2 turns. So that player can go and move, say 8 inches, then just end their turn and take another 8-inch move. So they get 16 inches of movement in their first turn. And then in their second turn, they get to move again for another 8, let's say. Or I think it has to be their minimum distance. So let's say 12, 18 inches, right? So now you've got a model with like an 18-inch threat range.
That's pretty. That could be pretty nasty.
Yeah, I put it on Chisel. I had her tooled up, and she was hitting extra hard, so she managed to, in her first turn, she took out one of the opposing players in just a few hits, which was nice, and then she promptly got taken out herself.
Now, when a player gets taken out, can they be? What's the mechanics? Are they just done or?
Yeah, so every player, once they get out, you've used up all their hit points, and you'll see they have, I don't have the cards around here, but they have what's called an icy sponge. So at the end of every turn, they move up to their first icy sponge. At the end of their second turn, they move up to a next one, and they keep on moving back up. So the longer you take them out, you keep them out, the healthier they're going to come back on. So, but if you wanted to, you could turn them right around and bring them back on immediately. But they're going to be pretty banged up, and they won't be able to do much to help you. Or they'll be an easy takeout for your opponent.
Well, that seems like an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it's really kind of a balance because if they're off the field, they're not producing influence for you either.
Ah.
So they're not really helping you out. But again, if it's a close game, like it was for me, you don't want to bring on a player who's only got a few hit points left, who's going to be an easy couple of points for the other guy.
Oh, that's right. You score points for taking out other people.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was my weekend hobby. It's not much, but it's mine.
Well, that does seem pretty interesting.
It was a good game. Chad's always a fun guy to play against. I always have a good time with him. So
do you know who you're playing this week?
yeah, that's a great question. This list we got it sent out, so I technically do, but it's kind of hard to read it.
Is it all in Pig Latin?
Well, it's formatted odd. So, I'm assuming he doesn't have the players listed. He just has them next to a row number. And I'm assuming that your row number is your player number. So, because like I used to be player 5, but I'm on row 6 because he put in like a title row.
Oh.
Okay. But I'm kind of looking. I'm like, okay, yeah, that corresponds to like. So I played 3 and then 7. Yep. So my next game is against player number 8. So it's somebody named Jordan W.
Isn't that the pundit?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, there you go. Well, no, because then I've got his name is Jordan Gardnier. So it looks like we have 2 W's. Yep. This is Jordan W. Seamus. I won't read his email out here. So. So yeah, we'll set it all up, and hopefully I'll get in another game here on Wednesday. But next week I won't be on next week, so I'll be down in Arizona, and hopefully I'll be able to roll on over to where the guys at MayaCast hang out and play.
Oh, did you throw down?
I said on Facebook I'd be in the area, and if I'm looking for a game, where should I go? And they're like, this is where we play.
Ooh.
I was like, all right.
So you could possibly be facing Shadle or Kip, huh?
Yeah, getting thumped royally. Honestly, dude, I can't remember the last miniature game I've actually won. Like, let me think back. So I haven't won any Gilbo. That's in a few weeks. And then before that, there's an Infinity. I might actually have to go back to LVO. It's getting pretty bad.
We need to buy you some new dice or something.
Something needs to happen here. You always say, it's cool. I don't need the win that much. But then when you're like, oh dang, I really haven't won in a while. It's like it kind of starts hurting just a little bit.
Some of that just might be your play time, that balance.
True, I don't play very often, so I'm not really expecting to win.
because I know when I for Infinity, our league, the first little bit, I was very rusty. I didn't know what I was doing, and then I got into my groove towards the middle, and I'm like, okay, this is this is I'm getting the hang of the game, my army, and the missions. So hopefully, maybe just uh, do this Guild Ball League a little bit more, and maybe your groove will come back to you.
Let's hope so. I mean, the fact that I'm able to keep it close tells me that I'm on the right track, at least.
Well, that's good.
So we'll see. Maybe I don't know. I'm honestly expecting to go like 0-10 this season. If I win more than 2 games, I'll be tickled pink.
Well, hey, I mean, there's always that last place award you can always strive for.
Yeah, going for golf, baby.
Well, hey, I mean, hey, at least you'll get some Infinity play in.
Yeah, hopefully. So I'm gonna need to put together a list for that.
Yeah.
Lead-in of the century, sir.
Well, speaking of Infinity and all that, that was my week this week. As you can see, I'm painting up the Battle Foam Yan Yan. He is part of my QK list, and that's one of the lists I brought with me this week. Yeah, let me pull it up. So, all right, here we go. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So here we have my Kalpakaki list. I played the mission safe area, which has 3 towers in the center of the board, equally spaced out, and the goal is to run up to them, hack it open, grab the data packet, and then run away.
And you have to be in control of that data packet, correct?
Yep, it's the end of the game scenario. So it's capture your flag, basically. And yeah, this is it was going against my opponent. Um, she won deployment and had me deploy first, and I chose to go first. And so during the game, I was like, okay, I'm not sure how to face this opponent. She's playing a more aggression force with a couple of link teams. I'm like, this is gonna hurt because Morats are tough to put down, and in a link team, it's even worse. But to my advantage, she did very much hit her opponent. She did not want to be shot the first round, so that left a lot of places for my characters to run up and grab at least 2 of the packets without being accosted. But here is my list. It's based around 2 different link teams. One link team is Drew's link team, up to 5, and using 2 Hafsas to fill out the 5. Another one is a Jean Bazan link team, again with the Hafsa to fill out the 3-man team.
So did the Drews get a new logo?
They they got the bug face logo.
I think that's a cool logo. Sorry. Kind of a non sequitur here. I've been trying to like pull your list over onto my computer while while you were talking, but I didn't quite get there. Because like I have trouble. Like, all right, now I gotta go find that and then this. Because all of these guys are just totally different. Like I don't spend a lot of time, so I don't recognize the different logos off the top of my head. Whatever. I'll squint yours.
Uh,
Oh, you just sent it to me.
yeah,
There we
there
go.
you go.
Technology, people. Technology.
Hey, it's a cool thing, at least with a working army builder.
List.
But yeah, Drews are very interesting. This is my first time actually running link teams, and I've had a love-hate relationship with them so far.
Yeah, so let's talk about Drews for a minute. They're great in the fact that Armor 3, BTS 3, right? What's there not to love about that? And it's the answer to that is their movement 4-2.
Yeah, they're slow.
So I guess the question is, what are you planning on using your Drews for? I mean, so you've got them set up so you could set up like a 5-person team. Is this going to be your go out and take an objective unit, or is this going to be your sit back and your defensive unit?
I'm running them as a mid-range unit. This list has 2 assault hackers, and so these guys they're able to do the hacking stuff. They also have the D charges, so they can blow up buildings if needs be.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also a forward observer in the group, so I'm able to take out a good chunk of the objective cards.
Yeah, having the D charges is always nice. So they're almost like a dual purpose type.
But as a mid-range guys, with a combi rifle and the X visor, it does give a nice little bit of range to the weapons.
Yeah, a combi rifle with an X visor is surprisingly useful.
Especially, and then going against camo or anything like that in a 5-man link team, you get that 3+3 boost. Mm-hmm. So you've got a nice range of firepower.
Okay, so they'll be kind of your mid-range. The one thing you got to remember is that 4-2, they're not that fast. However, it's not a huge detriment, because typically what you're going to be doing anyways is you're going to be moving and then doing something else, right? So it'll be like moving shooting, or moving hacking, moving pushing buttons. Mm-hmm. So in Affinity, it's pretty rare that you're actually doing a move, or if it is, it's really rare that you're going a full 8 inches of movement.
Yeah. And a 5-man team, you could lock down a section of the board really easy, especially because they have combi rifles, and then they also have chain colts. So you're dropping templates.
Yes, indeed. Well, not all of them have chain colts. Your hackers don't.
And the Hafsas have light shotguns, so it's a pretty mean, in a reactive ARO. That's a pretty mean squad to go up against.
Mm-hmm. So the one thing that I've noticed is I have trouble sometimes even with like a 4-man link team. Like they're just so big that it can be a little difficult sometimes to move them around.
I get that, and especially with templates, you do not want to have somebody lobbing a impact template on you and taking out multiple members of your team.
And now, to be fair, I mean, the Hafsas can be kind of whatever they want. So If you wanted to, you could actually just keep the Hafsas out of that link team. If you decided you wanted just to move these guys forward and just keep it as a 3-man link.
Mm-hmm.
So, Forward Observer Hafsa, just a regular bog standard Hafsa, which are just fine. Like I said, you can play lots of tricks with those guys. Oh, here's a question for you. Could the Hafsa, with its holo projector, could it be a unit that is not inside of your sectoral?
I believe it has to be somebody in your army.
Okay, somebody you could possibly have. Like, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but it was just one of those, stupid infinity tricks I was thinking about. So, again, Hafsas are great even by themselves. So, with
And
armor 2.
holo projector 1, you just have 2 guys that are running around that aren't who they say they are. And with maybe this list, they're not. Rifle light shotgun doesn't seem as powerful as maybe running around with a Spitfire that's hidden.
Well, you can. Personally, I would make him look like Janissaries or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, some big beefy guys.
Yeah, and so you've got so many points here that somebody might not believe that they're Janissaries. Or they're going to realize that you've got some Hafsas or something going on somewhere. But you've also got a lot of cheap troops just hanging around. So they're like, oh man, maybe he does have points for a Janissary. So something scary that's going to keep people away.
Mm-hmm.
Although you should have Janissaries because Janissaries are awesome. They're expensive, but...
Ooh. Yeah, a 3-man fire team of Janissaries takes up a whole chunk of points.
I know, but just imagine with a boarding shotgun, an AP rifle, and I don't know, maybe a missile launcher if you're feeling cute or something. Like an Akbar Doctor, yeah. Dude, that would be so amazing. Because they're like, a Whip 14? Dude, that's so good. They're so good. Janissaries are so good. Okay.
That'd be an annihilation list.
Fair point. All right. Moving down here, the Hawa Hacker. Again, just fine, because he's got the assault hacking device.
And he's an not impersonator.
Camo infiltrator.
Yeah, so he can help me grab early stuff in the mission.
Mm-hmm. You've got a Gulam Doctor with a little Nazmat helper. Again, 16 point for a Whip 14 Doctor. Done.
Yeah. Especially because Doctor puts her up to 17.
What does?
She's a Doctor Plus, so.
Oh yeah, that's right, huh? There you go. So you stick those behind a couple of your Drews or something like that, just to keep them up. So Ago Seal for a cheap order, looks like. Freaking Yans. Hate these guys.
Love hate or just.
Yes, love hate. Sure, their armor 0, their BTS 0, but guess what? They're 8 points for a chain rifle with smoke grenades.
Yep. And an inferior combat jump makes them pretty nice.
Yeah, I just wish that we had a fat Yan.
Everybody wanted the fat Yan.
I still can't believe that. I totally fell for that April Fool's just because I'm like, that is so amazing. Yes, thank you for finally doing it.
Maybe it'll come out for Gen Con this year. Who knows?
Please, Corvus Belly. Okay, and so they're just kind of filling it out. Those guys will be great. I mean, just because they have inferior combat jump doesn't mean you actually have to start them off the board. Mm-hmm. You could always just, keep them in there and just throw smoke grenades and just kind of blitz up. Second combat group, just a cheap Aguasil Lieutenant. Now, okay. I was going to say, I'm just wondering why you'd go with like an Aguasil Lieutenant versus a Gulam Lieutenant, because the Gulams are one higher point in whip, and they are one couple points more, but I mean, otherwise they're pretty comparable. But yeah, and it looks like you just got a couple of cheap order monkeys there. Sniper rifle, HMG, Yanzabans.
With MSV2, so
Yeah, MSV2 regeneration. It's all gravy on there. I love those guys.
and especially on a reactive turn, you make them the link, and so they can take out. They've got good mid range and good long range burst too.
Mm-hmm. Which leads us into the Hafsa, which is, I imagine you would proxy him as another Yanjaban.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just got a little remote. A total reaction remote. I'll argue with you there.
Yeah, I mean they're cool. I hate when I face them, and it's one of those like you face them all the time. You're like I can't stand these things, and then you take one and it gets blown up the first turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's another love-hate. Because in some ways they're so easy to take out. You know? But man, if somebody sets them up right and they support them right, oh, they're just a bugger.
Mm-hmm. Especially, yeah, you give them the marksmanship level 2 buff, takes out people's cover, gives them shock ammo.
Mm-hmm. So you on the different ranges. I will say, you don't have a whole lot of anti-armor. You've got the sniper rifle and the HMG, and the sniper, and those are both okay. And I'm not saying that you would see a tag in this sort of mission, but if you were to come up against infantry, I think a bit of a problem with. Hawk Islam believes that a rifle is a rifle, which I think you're buying into here. So let's see here. 16 orders, great. 5. But you've only got 6. I should say only, because 6 is pretty good. You've got 6 specialists. And that feels a little light. I almost think you ought to have a little bit more. Because your forward observer, one of those is going to be in your fire team that's holding back. Mm-hmm. So you can't really count on him doing much. The Gulam, and on top of that, the Gulam he's going to be probably hiding way far back somewhere with the Nazma moving up. And so the Nazma won't actually be able to accomplish objectives either. And so functionally, that's only giving you 4 specialists to do, trying to do. And those 4 are also part of kind of your, we'll say like your assault team. You know, you expect these guys to be seeing combat. And in Infinity, that means they're going to be dying fairly regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, what I would be looking at is, because of the point of this mission is to get up on top of an objective and get back, I would be looking at maybe trying to add in a second, maybe even a third Hawa.
Mm-hmm.
just because having that camouflage plus infiltration is going to give you such a benefit. Trying to move up the board, to be already start there. I don't know. Okay, so this is where my inexperience starts coming through with the QK. Is what would be really nice is if you had like trade infiltrating my layer. Sorry, there we go.
That would be the Muibs, and those are in the Assassin sectoral.
Well, I mean, Muibs might just be my most favorite unit in all of Infinity. Like, I think they're that good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any options for mines in your army?
Yeah, very little.
Another option you might consider is because you have two core fire teams, is maybe actually look at like odalisks, because that way you can run them as a Haris. I think that's your only Haris option.
Sec bonds. There's a couple of Hardy's options.
Okay. So odalisks are a little lighter than sec bonds. They're also a little faster. You could go one way or the other. I just like the idea of odalisks. I think they're cool. Plus, they also have no wounding cap, so they might only be armor 2. And let's be honest, like the difference between armor 2 and armor 3 is pretty negligible in this game.
Yeah.
Versus no wound in cap is a huge bonus to have. And so while the Druze are great, I'm not saying get rid of them completely. Like keep a couple of Druze hackers. I would keep like your Yanzabons. Am I saying that right?
I call them Jambazons.
Jambazons. Okay, we'll say that. So you keep your Jambazons with a Hafsa Fort Observer there, right? And I might even pull a couple of the other Hafsas in there. From the first group to the second one. So you've got a full 5-man link team. You've got a 5-man link team with a sniper rifle and an HMG.
You can only put 2 Hafsas in a 5-man.
Oh, well, that sucks. Okay.
And then 1 in a Haris.
Okay, so I'm going to start monkeying around here just a little bit with this list that you sent me.
So yeah, I did jumping from vanilla to sectoral. That does give a little bit of interesting. I'm sure you get link teams, but you do get they do take away a lot of that whole menagerie of units you could take.
It is hard. Like, actually, in some ways, I find it easier, right? Because now you're limited. It allows you to focus a lot more.
Mm.
Because you're not like, oh, well, I'm not taking one of these. It kind of puts blinders on you to a certain extent, which isn't a bad thing. $341 points is cool, right? No, it's not. I know. Okay, so we don't need you. 21. Where can we ditch points? Order monkey there. 11 points. It's always like the last 10 or 11, right? That's just hard.
It's like, all right, which finger do you want to cut off?
Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly which one I'm cutting. There.
Now, it also, I guess, depends on what mission you're doing and what list you're building. Since we're not in a league anymore, I'm building pretty much like an all-rounder list just to kind of play different things. But if in a tournament setting, when you actually know the missions, then it'd be a little bit easier to build off of.
That is true. It's hold on, I'm almost done here.
But I
10
do,
more points.
I do think if I can find them online, I will be picking up the other Yan Yans because even though they're little older sculpts, they're pretty nice units for what they do.
Okay, all right. Here's how I've tweaked it around just a little bit here.
Oh,
So, how about let me see if I can share it. Screen sharing. Stop screen sharing. And let's screen share onto this. All right, can you see what I got going on here, Ellen?
yep.
So we've kept the Drew's hacking squad, right? So we have a pair of assault hackers. Oh, dang it. That Hofsa is supposed to be up in there. So and we'll pull him into there. So we've got our assault hacking squad with the Drews and the Hawa, which is kind of nice because the Hawa is gonna just fit right in there. The only thing different is one has a boarding shotgun versus the combi rifles. So, or excuse me, the Hafsa. Man, I'm slow tonight. So we still kept the Hawa. We still got our doctor with the med kit and the Nosmot. We still got our Yanyans. But now what we've also put in, we've got a Hari team, right? So with the sec bonds. And sec bonds are great. Still armor 3, BTS 3, so they're going to have the durability like what you have with your Drews. They have 360 visors on them, which is amazing. We're going to have a couple of boarding shotguns, which is a great weapon because these guys are going to be out there getting in the thick of it. And we have a couple of doctors. And a whip 14, well, Doctor Plus, so they're going to be whip 17. So they can actually bring themselves back if they need to. So this is going to be you have choices now. You can actually run 2 link teams if you want to. You've got your Drew's hacker and you've got your Secbon doctors that are both pushing up the field. So you've got a lot of heavier armor units. And you've got a full set of, well, you've got 8 orders here. So you've got a lot of orders to play with. Still too. And you're throwing, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got extra we've got an extra guy actually here moving forward, an extra specialist. On the backfield side now, we still have our Jambazon link team, a 3-man link, so they're getting +1 to their burst, and they're active or in their AROs. We still got a cheap order monkey here, and we've managed to replace the Aguasil lieutenant with a Gulam lieutenant, which takes you up a point. I'm not going to say that this is necessarily a far and away better list. I think this is just kind of a slightly different way of doing the same thing. But I like this one in that you're able to run 2 link teams simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your Hari, and you can, and depending on what you want to do, if you're going to want to go balls to the wall, you can make your core your Drew's team, or you make your core your Jambazon for a defensive link. So I kind of like that. I think that gives you a little bit more flexibility, and it gives you an extra specialist, and it's a good specialist, a good durable one, who's going to be out there in the front where you need them to be doing work. So, just a thought. So, just some list discussion.
Hey, that's what we're here for, right?
Yep. I can't win a game, but man, I can build a list.
Well, maybe that's what I'll do this week is run a Sekbon Haris and see how that flies.
I think you've run Sekbon before. They're good. They're solid.
The ones I've done before are usually defensive, so rifles and heavy rocket launcher.
Yeah, and I get that because the heavy rocket launcher is nice, but man, like these guys are set up for going in there and getting it done. Whip 14, Armor 3, BTS 3, again, 360 visors. They got boarding shotguns, AP rifles, chain colts, regular pistols, stun pistols. These guys are a huge toolbox. So I would actually put them as probably your best link team inside of Kalpu Kalki.
Yeah. And could even put if you rearrange it a little bit, you can stick in the Hafsa in there as well, make it a 4-man.
Sure. No, Haris. Well, yeah, if you wanted to go core.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like your Druze, I don't think can do a Haris, can they?
No.
So you're kind of, like I said, you could.
But I see what you're getting at. Yeah, having a 3-man run at the bat, you don't have to worry about doing anything.
Yeah. As using a lot of Motarko's teams that can only go up to 4, I find that I get just as much work out of a 3-man team as I do out of 4-man. Especially with some of the changes, because you've lost your 6th Sense level 2. That got bumped up to your 5-man link. So between 3 and 4, I don't see a huge difference. If anything, I'd rather run the 3 just because they're easier to get around. So, but again, you could totally if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, QK is my summer army to play.
It's like you're going back to your old girlfriend, man. Because isn't this where you started?
Yeah. But that was to run a tag and Scarface Cordelia. I mean,
what a tag it is.
Yeah, I think for an annihilation list, Scarface Cordelia, a link team of Yanasaris, and then whatever else I could put in there.
Heck, you could run a link team of Mobile Brigada. Oh, no, they're not linkable here in QK. Never mind. That's too bad. Although, to be fair, I think I'd rather take Yanasaris.
Or Osriel, Link Team.
I was going to say KTS, but they don't have quite the punch. I love Kaplan's. I don't like their models, but I love the Kaplan profile.
They have a good engineer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Gotta love those guys just because Armor 2, which again is like, meh, all right. BTS 6, which is really nice, but they have mimetism, which is huge.
And an adhesive launcher. Running those in a core, you're going to make a lot of people cry.
So, yeah, QK is, and they've always been, are just spoiled for choice. So, and I mean, I guess you could always do odalisques. They're harder to, especially like in a, if you're just going to go for a kill 'em all, right? Because they're durable. 360 visors, no wounding cap, and you throw a Spitfire in there, and then throw a couple of submachine guns, and boy, they're going to do work for you. Those ladies will go out and get it done. Oh wow, you can take 5 and make them core now, dude. You could take everything as core. You suck. I hate QK.
The Sultan loves us.
Yes, yes, he does. Although I guess my one comfort is you don't have access to the giant scorpion tank.
Yeah, that's just sad.
No, it's not.
Who doesn't love plopping down a big, huge pie plate of a miniature?
Now, to be fair, that's got to be hard to move around some of these boards that I've seen. Have you gotten him in the mail yet?
Yes.
With the density of some of the terrain, are you going to be able to get him around from place to place?
It's his silhouette value allows him to move through things.
His base is bigger than his silhouette?
Or because his silhouette value, if there's a piece of terrain or something impeding him, visually, he could still move through it because his silhouette value is bigger than that.
So, well, now that we've picked over your list, 2 or 3 times, come up with some alternates and some other thoughts for you. Do you got anything else for us, Alan?
Nope. I think that's it for me. I did happen to get in the mail another airbrush.
Oh, nice. What are you getting?
I got the Patriot Extreme 105 from Badger.
So what made you choose this one?
It's got the new trigger pull. It's a little bit larger and it's designed to more. It's a better feel, and then also has the screw in the front here for a little bit more precision air.
I've never seen that before. You'll have to tell me how it works out for you.
Yep, it's a brand new one from Badger.
I've been meaning to look into the SOTAR 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, especially like the tip on this precision painting is going to be very interesting. I've seen people do pencil lines with this airbrush.
Yeah. Yeah, my Masters G223 is fine for base coats, but precision, it doesn't do that quite so much. But I don't know. I've been watching a lot of
Yo, dog.
Yeah, I know. He cracks me up. Like I almost stopped hearing it at that point. At this point, so I'm just like, he cracks me up.
It's that ancient Chinese secret.
Yes, it is. He is. There's all sorts of personalities in this hobby, and he's definitely a large one.
But it's like no matter where you go, Kenny, you don't even have to say his name. You just have to say "Yo, dog," and everybody knows who you're talking about.
True, but you know what? That guy can paint, so I was like, he's like, oh, it's no big deal. Just do this. It's easy. I'm like, that is not easy, dude. What do you say is easy? It's not easy.
Or he's like, oh yeah, this is going to be a quick hack. You could do this in 15 minutes. And he's like, I spent all day putting in the black on this tag. I'm like, well,
did you airbrush the black on that tag? I would have just gone with a rattle can. He's just too big, man. And with the metal, I've been finding with metal models, like I think I'd rather start with a rattle can primer base, just because it's gonna stay on the model better than an airbrush primer.
Yeah, the rattle can stuff's got a little bit more bite to it.
It's also just a little more durable, I think, because it is thicker, without a doubt. It's thicker, but it's not going to rub off as quickly.
And with the airbrush stuff too, you have to let it set for a day. It's got a cure time to it. So if you go from one paint to another, any handling is just going to fall apart. But if you give it a day or so, it'll harden up. But yeah, that's it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you play Infinity or Guild Ball, leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. That's it for me. Casey, anything else?
No, just as always, if there's something you'd like us to take a look at or something you'd like us to talk about, shoot us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. This is The Atomic Salt, and Fat Yon Yon has blown our mind.
Oh, one day. All right, see you guys next week.